Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bicycle Stories. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Rose.
Hi, everybody.
And we're excited to be back as always. And today we are interviewing a cyclist, Jill Magrath. Welcome, Jill, to Bicycle Stories. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Rose and I met Jill through our cycling club, Joy Riders. And we've never ridden together, I don't think, but we always meet on our cycling route all the time. And she's an avid cyclist, a wife and a mother, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about Jill. So thank you so much once again, Jill, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice to be here with you both.
Great.
Yes. Looking forward.
Yeah, we're looking forward. Yeah. And also thank you for being here because I know we kind of hijacked you. So thank you for being agreeable. Very short notice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into cycling.
Okay. Well, I've probably always been cycling. As far back as I can remember, I've had a bike. But I think I really got into it when we moved from Zambia to South Africa about 14 years ago. And I was, I think it was the first time I'd moved somewhere where my children, were already at boarding school. So I didn't meet friends in the normal way, normally through your children at school.
True.
And I met this bunch of ladies at the gym in a spinning class, and they persuaded me to get out on my bike and go for a cycle in the forest. And that was my start of mountain biking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've talked of moving from Zambia to South Africa, and now you've been in Kenya for 2 years now. Maybe we go back to when Jill was born and, your upbringing and how you find yourself in Kenya today. Right.
So born and brought up in Zambia, but then went overseas for high school to Scotland, where my mum and dad are from, but I met my husband in Zambia. He was also born and brought up there too. We got married. And we moved from, I don't know if you know Zambia, but from the Copperbelt down to Lusaka, which is the capital city. Mm-hmm. And we were there for quite a big chunk of our married life. We had our children. And then just with my husband's work and everything, that moved us to South Africa. That was probably about, 13, 14 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And we had a very nice life there too, enjoyed it there. And then my husband's job again moved us up to Kenya. And I've now been in Kenya for just over 2 years and really, really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So that's it really.
Great.
So Jill, you ride with a group called the Cranky Nuts. You have to tell us what to the name Cranky Nuts?
Well, to be honest, I'm sort of coming in at the tail end, very lucky to be riding with them. My sort of feel I could be wrong here, but they're quite sort of middle-aged older riders like myself. And maybe that's where the name Cranky Nuts has come from. But please don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Well, they'll watch this. They'll watch this.
So they'll know you're calling them cranky.
I don't need to quote you anywhere.
Has it got to be something to do with being cranky and a bit older?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So how is that? How is it? What is the most memorable experience in the last 2 years in terms of riding with the Cranky Nuts or any other group you've ridden with?
Well, I probably started doing some amazing riding in Kenya. I mean, if I can first of all say that coming from South Africa, mountain bike riding is amazing and all the rest. I was very thinking when I came up to Kenya and moving to Nairobi, big, massive city, what is it going to be like here,
Yeah.
And I was actually blown away, the level of riding here and the amount of different races and courses and where to ride. I've had wonderful experiences already. I've had some tough experiences. Riding here is tough. It's competitive. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's fun. It challenges everything. Mm-hmm. It gives you everything that you would expect in a mountain bike race. I think to name some of, I've had a wonderful experience at 10 to 4 up at Mount Kenya. Mm-hmm. Amazing riding. The Safari Epic started this year. I only managed 2 out of the 5 days. My plan is to do all 5 days next year. That is going to be a very, very nice event in the Kenya calendar. I've ridden Alexeo's Kangundo caper a couple of times. Probably one of the toughest day on my mountain bike I've ever had.
Wow.
There is an absolute killer hill at the end. And I know, I keep saying, I'm never doing that again.
But
I will probably sign up again and do it again.
Story of our lives.
And try again.
We do that all the time. We're like, at the end, we're like, never, ever, ever. And then we sign up. Even the next day, it's crazy.
Exactly. So there's so many things. I mean, I think the Joy Riders Ololua XC is one of my favorites. That course, it's one of my, it's like my background place to, backyard to ride in. So I love it. And I see that it's just coming out again in October.
Yes, it is October 13th.
So I will be signing up for that. And I love that. That's one of my favorite races.
Awesome. So that's your stint in Kenya. I think you have also done something in the 10.
I haven't been to a 10, but I have done did a couple of the loop gravel rides. I did the Tata City, and I rode in Naivasha as well.
Nice.
Okay, and how were those? Yeah, because those are also very challenging. I did the Vipingo one, and that's one of the ones I said never, ever. How was
Naivasha?
So
Hell's Gate.
Well, so Hell's Gate, I did the 120, and that was. It was a great day. I actually really loved it, but I suffered. It was brutal. I mean, it's a stunning venue. I mean, to ride up in Hell's Gate, the first 60 through in the park and things with all the sand. I mean, it was very challenging. And I think it was a world qualifier for Belgium, UCI event. And I don't know whether you know this, but I qualified.
Oh, you did. Awesome. That's fantastic.
You're going to Brussels?
No, I'm not going. I'm not going. I mean, what I wanted to point on here, I qualified. I was probably I think the reason I qualified was I was the only lady in the masters category. Okay. So I possibly qualified on the start line. Yes. But, I have to say that would be something to see more people in our older veteran and master categories. Would be amazing,
Cycling.
Because to have that opportunity to ride with these world-class riders, to see them, for them to recognize that they also thought the course was really tough. Is amazing, is great. And to be a part of that. So, yes, no Brussels for me this year, but I think if we can get a few more ladies, if we get the opportunity to do that again, to get qualifiers in, let's do it.
That would be nice. I mean, I think, Ahak, we've talked about the fact that the racing scene in Kenya is growing
a lot.
And then we find that we get more of the older ladies now moving up into the masters category. And that means that it won't be as easy as winning at the start line, because there are more and more women riding.
That would be it.
Absolutely,
it's really nice when you go out there and you find almost everybody is of a certain age. The ladies, that is, are like in their 40s and above.
It's definitely getting better. I still think it needs to pick up, especially the amount of women in races, especially, looking at junior level, looking at our elites, which fabulous standard of riding. And then as you see, especially with the wonderful programs coming through, just to keep sort of pushing that and getting the numbers up in these events would be great.
Which brings us to, you're wearing a t-shirt for the Women on Wheels, which is a program that is basically encouraging women to join riding. And there's so many people who don't know how to ride or didn't know how to ride and come to this program and are able to basically start. And it's a program done by the Joy Riders and Angie. So tell us what do you think about it? Like how,
Well, I mean, it was so wonderful to be asked to go and see these ladies graduate on Saturday, where I met you both.
Yes.
And I loved the whole idea of the of this group, to get women who, some of these ladies don't even know how to ride a bike.
Oh, zero. It's
And
true.
just, when you hear the stories and how far they've come, to all of a sudden, to sort of move through the groups and to suddenly being able to go out and ride in a forest on proper trails, do drop-offs, go down little switchbacks, go over rocks, over logs. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Do the what is it called? The day, multiple day rides.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
really
remember one lady, she says, I want it all. She's just learning and she says, I want it all. I want to go all the way, to riding
long rides.
Yes.
Long rides.
Yeah.
100
Go out of
kilometer
town.
day ride.
Out of town
Yeah.
to multiple day rides. And I was like, wow, look at you already. I mean, that tells you where her mind frame is.
Yeah.
And, when I think about multiple day rides, I think, Jill, you mentioned something about a 9-day ride you once did while you were in South Africa.
Yeah. I love stage races.
Yeah.
I think there's, my husband asked me the other day, what is it about going off and riding your bike for? I've done 3-day rides. I've done a 4-day ride. I've done a 6-day ride. And my 9-day ride was Joburg to Sea, which was from Johannesburg down to, no, not to Cape Town, down to just south of Durban.
Yeah.
But it was all off-road and it was roughly 100 kilometers a day. Do you know the best thing about doing things like that is you are with like-minded people. So all you do for 9 days is talk about being on a bike. You talk about being on a bike. You talk about the course. You talk about how you find a certain part of the track. You talk about that dreadful climb that was just brutal. You talk about how fun it was on that amazing descent down. And that's all you do for 9 days, 6 days, 3 days.
And how sore you are, and I'm sore. But I get back on the bike the next day.
This again.
No, and I'm never doing this. Remind me, I'm never doing this again.
Ever.
And then 2 weeks later, you sign up for the next one. So
always.
yeah. But Joburg to Sea was probably one of my toughest but most fun experiences on a bike.
Is that one that happens every year? Is it?
Unfortunately, Joburg to Sea has stopped now. They've shortened the course now. It's now called Göteborg.
Okay.
Which is, I've also done. I did that last year. It's a 6-day ride, and it starts in just outside Johannesburg, and it finishes in the Drakensberg mountain range, which is it's 6 days of beautiful riding.
Wow.
Yes. But I'm about to, in 2 weeks' time, I will be starting the Rift Valley Odyssey, which is your Kenyan equivalent as well, 5-day ride from Limuru down to the Mara. Yeah. And I've got a big group of friends coming up from South Africa to ride.
Nice.
And we're doing that. So we this time in 2 weeks, we will be hopefully getting close to Naivasha.
Somewhere. So how often have you done that? How many times have you done the Rift Valley Odyssey?
This was my first time.
First time. Nice.
This is my first time.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, here it's a tough one. We've never done it. We hear about it, and
it's tough. But
I'm like,
I think if you're with the like-minded, that tribe of crazy people.
Yes,
tribe of crazy people.
Console each other along the way.
You're exactly right.
Then the environment is rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
You lose it somewhere along the way. You forget how tough the ride is. You just take it all in, and you're like, wow, yeah.
No.
And the day goes, and you wake up, and the next day, we've done that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You ladies have done, you've experienced it. I mean, I think the one thing you will agree with me on is, being on a bicycle is one of the best ways to see a country.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited to explore a lot more of Kenya on this ride. And I believe the days are tough, but they're magnificent and beautiful.
Yeah,
so,
they are.
Yeah.
So tell us, what has cycling done for you personally? How has it grown you? What has it done for you, for your career, your life, your family life?
I would say I've got a lot out of cycling. I mean, I think it has made me resilient.
Yeah.
I think you learn to keep trying. You learn some days are tough. But they can get better. And you learn that, that on the trying kind of thing, some days you can't do anything, you can't see anything. And the next day you can go out and suddenly things click into place and all the rest. And I think those are kind of things that you can bring over into anything, into your careers, and all the rest. I remember going out on a ride, one of my first rides with this group of girls in South Africa. And I wasn't very good, but they were very encouraging and very motivating. And I remember falling off my bike, and I was lying there, and the first thing they did was they didn't rush to me. They just said, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Uh-huh." And they're like, and they went, "Great." And they carried on riding. And I had to learn, this is no time for like drama here. I've actually got to get up, get on my bike, dust
dust
shake
yourself
the mud off
and
get on and go. And I was a little bit shaky and all the rest. And I was a little bit like, I thought, they haven't really like given me enough attention here.
I did fall off my bike.
I just fell off my bike. And I think in some ways that's been really good for me. That it's just like, you do toughen up and you just think, okay, I'm okay. Get on with it. And that's quite a good life skill.
It is. Get up and go.
So you bring that mentality into the workplace, into the home. And speaking of home, so you have 2 daughters.
Yes.
How old are they?
They're old now, as I am. Well, I've got a 30-year-old and I should say a 29-year-old and a 27-year-old, nearly changing birth. Yeah.
Awesome.
So one's married and
Any of them taking after mom? Any of them riding? Have you inspired them in this journey?
They both have bikes and they both ride. Not to the level I do. They both enjoy it and they and all the rest. They probably they're not as enthusiastic as me, but they both enjoy their time on their bike. They're both at that stage though, like in early careers where they're busy and they don't have the time that I have.
Yeah, true.
So, maybe the fact that they're on their bicycles, they both enjoy it. Maybe it's something when they have a little bit more time, they will be able to embrace a bit more. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So then what sort of advice would you maybe pass on to younger ladies, maybe the age of your daughters or a little bit older, who are looking to get into cycling? You already had the experience of the Women on Wheels, but beyond that, what would you generally tell any lady who's listening and is perhaps thinking maybe cycling is something I can do, but they're unsure,
I would say, always give something a try. Always try it. It might not be for you, but you're not going to know that unless you try. So try it. The one thing, especially with meeting you ladies and Women on Wheels and sort of my experience before is, if you find a group of like-minded, supportive women who can encourage you and try and ignite your passion, be prepared. It's not going to be easy straight away. You're not going to enjoy it straight away, but there'll be some part of it that you'll enjoy along the way that will bring you back. And just, I think, persevere and just get out there and give it a go. You can also decide that it's not for you, but maybe it's enough by just trying it out to see, okay, it is worth trying different things and giving things a go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So we were just talking about earlier before we got onto the interview about I know you cycle alone a lot, and so does Rose. But there's been incidences that we're talking about some people coming after your bike or coming to rob you or your phone, etc. So how do you handle that? Has that ever happened to you? And how do you handle that, or the fear, or how do you manage your fear and still get out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we can all sort of relate as women, and I'm not saying, because obviously things happen to men as well, but my sort of feeling, talking to a lot of my sort of guy cycling friends is that it does tend to be easier for guys to get on their bikes and go out on their own.
Yes, absolutely.
I ride by myself at times, and I know Rose does as well. I think what we were saying is that you know, you have to be sensible. You have to maybe mix your routes up a bit, maybe not ride at the same time every day.
Yeah, true.
And I try not to ride with fear. I try to presume good intent and that bad things aren't going to happen. However, I know that you have to be sensible and stuff, as we're all aware,
can happen.
Things have been happening and have been reported, and it is disturbing and upsetting for the cycling community. And hopefully, if we can all stand together, get the sort of, you know, the right people involved and try and make sure that and try and improve the safety. You know, but yeah, I think I have been very lucky that I haven't really had any incidences. And I've actually, when I have broken down or fallen off my bike, I've had the very opposite. Actually, I've had a lot of help and you know, and support from people around me, helping me, villagers, you know, any people are just like willing to help. So I have been very lucky. And I hope, it's just something we have to be aware of, be sensible, and
and
keep
just
our fingers crossed.
Nothing bad comes up.
But just get out on your bike and just be self-aware, I guess, of your environment. I
think we're also, I mean, what would be nice to have more sort of like group riding situations where, you know, obviously safety and numbers, you know, but that doesn't always work. Sometimes
like
you
your schedule doesn't align.
And sometimes you just want to nip out for a quick hour and a half
and come back. So Jill, tell us, what else do you do? Do you just ride? What else do you do to keep fit, to keep mentally healthy? And
but I would definitely say cycling is my most favorite thing to do. But I do, you know, like in as far as training for events and things to do, I do run a little bit, like not as well as both of you, but I do run a little bit. I think the cross training is
important.
Quite good important for your cycling. I certainly feel running makes me feel quite strong on my bike. It's good for my cardio. I do yoga very badly, but I do love it. It's one of the toughest thing I do because I don't know about cyclists. I'm not very flexible.
Okay. I was just about to ask, how do you do yoga badly? That's
I love yoga.
Okay.
I love it and it makes me feel better. And I need it because my everything is so, I need the stretching. And I also do a little bit of strength work. I try to do that. That's quite important, I think, for stage riding in particular. You know, when you're thinking about doing the same thing for 5 days on the trot.
You need the strength train for sure. It helps.
You need to have a strong core. A strong core on your bike.
True. Okay, great.
So Jill, we've talked of safety. That's important for cyclists. We've now touched on strength training. What else as a cyclist do you need to make your cycling comfortable? Let's talk about gear. Let's talk, you know, all the things that, especially for long rides.
No, for sure. Well, I think even before you get there, I think it's very important to look at your nutrition. You know, I'm sure you will have seen yourself as well. And I think it's something that women tend to be better at than men. That, you know, if you're going for a long ride, that you have got the correct liquids, that you've got your energy and your rehydrate and you've got your protein bar and, or, you know, sensible about what you've eaten the night before and the morning before and all that. So I definitely think nutrition is, especially if you're going for a long day ride, but also if you're doing the stage racing, you know, you need to be very sort of up on what your nutrition is and what your recovery is at the end of each day. I definitely think your comfort in what you're wearing. We discussed this a little bit on Saturday with Women on Wheels. You know, obviously, as much as people say cycling kit is quite a bit funny, it's necessary. You know, we all need our chamois in our pants and all the rest. We need to be comfortable. We need to be comfortable. You know, you're also, obviously, your helmet is key. That, you know, the most important part of your
Accessory.
for your safety. And I do believe that glasses are also important. I mean, I've got a friend who is an eye surgeon, and he's a cyclist, and he's seen, so even just like with sugar cane, people coming in with their they've been cut across their eyes from sugar cane, sticks, dirt, stones flying into your eyes. So eye gear is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously just being sensible, like in the sun, and making sure you've got sunscreen or sleeves on, or and I think it's just sort of like remembering that you're out there for a while. So comfort is key, and nutrition
Is key.
is
Is everything actually. Yeah,
Yes.
it helps a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the type of bike? I mean, you're a mountain bike rider. I'm sure you've gone through a number of bikes.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, I think, and the younger you are, and I've started, I'm very lucky that I have got a very nice dual suspension bike, which, and as certainly as I'm getting older, I'm appreciating more and more the dual suspension. But I have, your hardtail, and, you can ride anything, and you can see some of these youngsters today and what they're, I'm going around on my little bike of comfort, and I'm watching some of these youngsters flying past me, shooting up hills, flying down hills, and and they're able to ride anything. So certainly for at my age, I do like a bit more creature comfort, and being able to appreciate my dual suspension a lot.
I think we both do.
I think we all do. Age aside, we all do.
Yes.
All do.
Jill, so do you do road bike riding at all? I don't think I've ever seen you on a road bike out there.
I have to say, I have got a road bike, and I have touched on it, and I've been out on my road bike when it's been too wet to go into
the forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have to admit that mountain biking
Is your favorite?
is my favorite.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
No,
I get very nervous in a peloton.
it can be daunting a little bit, but I think.
Do you both do road biking as well?
She does. I am not. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'll be blown off the bike.
yeah,
I don't know. I have
well-
this thing in my mind. It's so crazy.
I only just started. I think I've just had a road bike for the last 2 months
Yeah,
or so.
I think something like that. Yeah, but she's
And
doing
we
well
did
on
a
it.
long ride
Yeah.
all the way to more hills, and and the crosswinds, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm going to be blown because this bike is already so light.
compared to a mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so light.
And I've ridden a mountain bike all my riding
Yes.
short years, 4 short years.
All your riding life.
All my riding life, which isn't as long as yours. But so you get used to the mountain bike. It's sturdy, it's comfortable. Because the thing with the road bike also doesn't come with the dual suspension.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got this light bike that hits on all the potholes. And
Because our roads can be like off-road. Our main roads are
roads.
like off-road.
You have to be very careful where you're on your lines as well. Hey, making sure you don't hit. Yeah.
And you're on the rumble strips, and it's not fun on a road. It's not,
Wow.
But
you're getting used to it.
You get used to
It's a different type of riding, isn't it? It's
is
a
a
little
different
bit
type
more
of
about
riding.
the pace and stuff, and
skill.
Yes, and skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things we were learning from our coaches when we started off was on skills. Skills. And they kept on emphasizing on skills. And they said, once you are comfortable on a mountain bike, any other bike is very easy to ride. Yes. The skills we developed in the forest, being able to evade, balance, evade the roots, the rocks, the trees. And, when you get onto an open road,
And
it's so easy. I mean, all you're doing is going and
makes it easier.
Yeah, makes it easier.
Yeah.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
So now you can work on the speed as opposed to riding in a maze. kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of.
true.
Yeah.
So you don't enter. So Jill, you don't enter any of the races that are that require
I
road
haven't.
bikes. You haven't.
No,
You
I
you
haven't.
prefer the off-road
I
races.
do prefer. I would probably. Is it the Nairobi?
Yes, the Grand Nairobi that's coming up in
race
September,
coming up.
later
But
this month. Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, maybe I should look at that. But it actually is I think we're still just finishing off
the Rift Valley. Yeah,
which
okay.
is a shame that's kind of
at the same time. Actually, they should separate it, because I'm sure there are a lot of cyclists who would have liked to do both. Okay.
I think there are a number of riders who would do both.
Yeah,
if they could.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You never know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Watch this space.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it could be an easy recovery, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just riding around the city.
You never. Yeah, that's true.
Not much
So
pressure.
easy.
Easy goes.
I think Jill is very competitive. I don't think it should be like, I need to get round and get my 5 laps.
You'll be in the Masters category and most likely podium, aiming for podium.
No.
Aiming for podium.
You know what? I think competition is good, and I like to think that I am competitive. I like to think that I'm a good competitor, though. I think don't get me wrong, winning or getting on the podium is always nice, but I like to think that I'm also a good loser. That if I've really worked hard and I really feel I've had a good race, and people have beaten me and got in, well then, wow, they must have had an awesome race too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think that sort of that sort of competitive
spirit
is good.
Yeah.
It's simple, and I think maybe, I think cycling has maybe given me that a bit as well. That it's good to be competitive, and you can be competitive and friendly and fun with it too
at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate good competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good. So having been 2 years in Kenya, I'm sure you've seen cycling evolve. Where do you see, from your perspective, obviously you're maybe not able to influence, but where do you see cycling? What would you like to see cycling become in Kenya, having come from South Africa, which was very developed in its cycling space?
I think I have seen, I've seen change in 2 years. Definitely, more things happening on the calendar, and definitely there's definitely an energy about getting people to races and building up and new races starting, and then seeing them develop and getting better in the years. And that has been good. I know we touched on it earlier, but yes, it would be great to sort of build up more ladies,
right?
And definitely push. And I definitely see that programs in place for that happening. Maybe more sort of like before the sort of like competition side, maybe doing a little bit more teamwork of getting more ladies out there onto sort of regular rides and stuff, which I know your programs with Joy Riders and Women on Wheels are really focusing on. And I certainly know that I think I would like to be a bit more involved in that as well, just to try and encourage and motivate
women to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then being a forest rider, I'm sure you're also keen on conservation.
Yes.
Perhaps tell us some of the efforts you've made with Ololua Forest, perhaps, or any other conservation efforts you've done to preserve your riding space and the environment, of course. Yeah.
I'm very appreciative of the fact that we have Ololua on our doorstep, and the fact that there is a team involved in keeping those paths cleared. And I know Joy Riders gets very involved in that as well. And I'm always I'm always a willing contributor to helping with contributing towards the clear ups.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that's really as much as I can say on that, as but I'm definitely, if I can appreciate the riding there, then I'm very happy to contribute to keeping it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's always sad to see when we go out there, when you go into the forest and you see them cutting the trees, or you see the debris, the dirt, the trash around. When you're in the forest, you're just like, oh my goodness, it's actually quite disturbing. Yeah. So,
or more
it's nice
recently, when we saw the grabbing or possible.
of parts of the
Yes,
forest. That's a bit disturbing.
Yeah.
Thank God that
Disturbing.
was. I think it was stopped, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, and we hope
hopefully
it's lasting because
and that was quite a bit done by the cycling community as well, going out and kind of standing
up and saying no. Because otherwise we'll have nowhere to ride. Actually, you know what I mean. If we keep letting it happen, one day we'll just be like, okay, there'll be nowhere to go.
And it's not so much about somewhere to ride; it's about conservation.
Absolutely.
True. Good point.
I'd say rivers, but there are water tributaries along the forest. So it's contributing to the ecosystem, and we can't afford to lose any forests as of now.
Not at all.
We already have too many lost already.
Yeah.
Good.
Great. So Jill, thank you so much for joining us on Baiskeli Stories. I think we've mentioned so many things, and I just want to let our viewers know that on our below on our YouTube, if you like, follow us, share. We'll mention more details about the Women on Wheels program if you're interested, about the upcoming race that's coming up, the Jubilee ride that's coming up end of September. The official name is
the Grand Nairobi.
The Grand Nairobi. I'm just saying the Rift Valley Odyssey. So we'll mention a couple of just some details in case for those of you who might be interested in joining these events. You're more than welcome. But we just want to thank Jill. Thank you so much for joining us on Baiskeli Stories, and we look forward to seeing you on the trails. As usual.
Thanks to you both for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nice to
more
chat.
than welcome. It's lovely.
So thanks, Jill. Jill. I'm sure you've encouraged perhaps one or two ladies who've moved into this country and are looking for a support system or somewhere to sort of exercise. Maybe they're cyclists, and you've shown them it's possible. You've done it in 2 countries now. So thank you.
Here's hoping.
Definitely.
So thank you. And thank you, Rose. And we'll see you next time on Baiskeli Stories.